So from January 1st to March 31st, I read 10 books, and so many of those books absolutely captured my heart and became some of my favorite books I've ever read. Therefore, this video is books I've read recently that you should absolutely read as well. What's up guys, it's Nicole, and today I'm going to be talking about 10 books that I have read recently this year that I just highly recommend. I have been on such a reading kick this year. As I filmed this video April 21st, 2021 right now, I have read 14 books already this year, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the first 10 that I read. Disclaimer, a lot of the books that I read are ebooks or I borrow them from my local library. Therefore, I don't have a ton of physical copies to show you guys, but I'm so excited to talk about them. Also, all the books that I talk about will be linked down below with an Amazon link that you can purchase them hard copy or Kindle version. And also, I have a Goodreads account. I'm obsessed. You can keep up to date in real time with the books that I'm reading on there. Please follow me. I just love it so much and love discovering new books. Now let's get right into it. So the first book that I read this year was Where the Crawdads Sing. This book was a little bit different than the rest of the books that I read this year. This is more of a coming of age book, and I think it is so beautiful. I left in my Goodreads review about this book, I said I just feel like this is a book that everyone should read. I think it's a modern classic and is going to be held in that regard for a very long time. So Where the Crawdads Sings follows the local marsh girl. Her name is Kaya Clark, and her family kind of live a little bit secluded from their local town. They live like just on the outskirts of it. The kids don't go to school, you know, they don't know really how to read and write, and they're just kind of poor, and the other people in the town just really disregard them. So Kaya is the youngest of her family, of all of her siblings, and like all the other kids, she's not that smart in the book smart type of way, but she is a genius in regards to nature. You know, the weather and the land around her, she thrives off of that, and she learns so much about that. But the story follows her as she grows up, and you know, she matures and she becomes a young lady, and her needs change. She wants social interaction, she wants to make friends, you know, she wants to feel what love feels like. So it kind of follows her as she's growing up and trying to figure out how she's gonna navigate her life, you know, who are the people that she wants to be friends with. There is so much more that I could say about this book, but I really don't want to spoil it for you guys because, like I said, I think everyone should read this book. It is absolutely incredible. I read it in about 3 days, I think it took me, and even though it wasn't as mystery thriller as I loved, it still had a little bit of that in it, and it really kept me on my toes, and I really wanted to see how it all ended. The next book that I read, you have probably heard of it because it is very popular as of lately, but it is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. This book is just super popular in like the teen young adult book scene right now. One of Us is Lying follows the story of 5 students who get detention one day after school, and literally within the first 10 pages of the book, one of the 5 students drops dead. So the rest of the story kind of follows the remaining 4 students and figures out who would have had motive to kill the other student. The student that dies, his name is Simon, and he just happens to run the school's huge like gossip website, and they quickly find out that Simon was planning on dropping 4 huge secrets about each of the 4 students that were in detention with him that day. So the story kind of goes through uncovering the secrets of each of those 4 students and deciding which one of those 4 students' secrets were big enough to have a motive to kill. This book is like absolutely my cup of tea. High school set mysteries are chef's kiss to me right now. I would highly recommend this book. The only thing is I have found throughout reading Karen's books is that the ending is not too strong. I didn't really love the ending, but I would still recommend it due to the fact that the ending is kind of the only weak part. Like the rest of the book I flew through and I really enjoyed it. So the next book that I read right after One of Us is Lying is One of Us is Next, which is the sequel that Karen wrote for that book. It's kind of the characters from the first book do make an appearance in the second book, though they're not the protagonists. So One of Us is Next has a very similar plot line to One of Us is Lying. It is also high school students with secrets that have the potential of being unleashed and uncovered to everyone. But instead of a gossip website being run, the students whose secrets have the potential of coming out are texted by someone that is anonymous, asking them if they want to play a game of truth or dare. And if they pick truth, their secret comes out to everyone. It is texted to the entire school and everyone will know. Or if they pick dare, the person will send them a really dangerous, ridiculous, crazy dare that they have to complete within about, I think it's either 24 or 48 hours. And if they don't, their secret will be revealed anyways. So the four main characters of this story are actually either directly related, like they're siblings to the characters of the first book, or they're friends of them. So that's how the characters of the first book have graduated from school, but they come back into the story a little and, you know, are kind of a big part of it as well, which I love because I loved the characters of the first book. Now, the ending of this one I did enjoy more than One of Us is Lying. It still wasn't super strong, but I was more like pleased with it. Like I could live with the outcome of it. So book number 4 is my favorite so far that we have talked about. Book number 4 is a story called The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas, you guys, was like my absolute cup of tea when it comes to books. Like this book was rated absolutely 5 stars, was like complete perfection to me from beginning to end. Like this is what I love. So the story is set in a town called Sunnybrook, where about 5 years prior to when the book takes place, there were 5 cheerleaders that all died in horrific tragedies. The first 2 girls hit a tree one night while it was raining and they were out driving. Very soon after, the next 2 girls were murdered by one of the girls' next door neighbors while they were having a sleepover. And then Monica, the protagonist, her sister, who was the last cheerleader left after all those horrific tragedies happened, committed suicide because she just couldn't handle it. But for Monica, her world gets even more complicated when her stepdad is actually the one who shot and killed the man who murdered the 2 girls at the sleepover that one night. Monica just tries to forget about all these tragedies that have happened in her life, but new clues start unraveling and popping up in her life, and she realizes that it means something. It's really hard for her to go against her stepdad, but she believes that the killer is still out there and they got the wrong guy. And she realizes that a lot of people that are still alive that knew the girls know a lot more than they're admitting to. So the story goes through her just kind of unraveling the truth about this mystery, about what really happened 5 years ago to the 5 girls. This ending, you guys, this ending was everything that you want in a mystery thriller ending. Didn't see it coming. It wasn't rushed. It was just perfectly executed. I cannot recommend this book enough. Loved it so much, you guys. Hopping back on the Karen McManus train, then I read her other book. It is called Two Can Keep a Secret. And for me personally, I believe that this was the strongest of the 3 books. Two Can Keep a Secret follows a girl named Ellery and her twin brother who moved back to Echo Ridge, the town where their family is from, to live with their grandma that they don't really know that well after their mom is going through some struggles. In Echo Ridge years ago, Ellery and her brother's aunt, their mom's sister, goes missing and is never found. And 5 years prior to when the story takes place, the homecoming queen is killed on homecoming night. So Ellery and her brother move there to finish out their senior year of school, and as soon as they get there, Ellery is kind of targeted due to the fact that people know that she's kind of related to a lot of the mystery behind the town. And soon enough, someone declares open season on homecoming for this upcoming year, promising to make it just as dangerous as it was 5 years ago when the homecoming queen was killed. Ellery's family and all the people in the town have so many secrets, and she decides that she wants to uncover everything that's happening and try to stop tragedy from occurring in Echo Ridge again. I really loved this book. It had such an incredible beginning and middle. The middle was the most exhilarating of the 3 Karen McManus books I have read so far this year, but the ending was just really rushed. It wasn't anything obvious. I did like the outcome, but it happened way too quick. It was just really super rushed. But I would absolutely recommend this book due to the fact that just the storyline of it is the most invigorating and interesting of the 3. Like me, if you love like high school set mystery thrillers, this is for you. So the next book that I've read is actually the only nonfiction / self-help book that I have read so far, and it is The Joy of Missing Out. This is just a book that I found for free on Kindle, and it looked interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Unlike most self-help books that I read, it was actually somewhat helpful, you guys. Like, I actually learned a good amount of things, especially about, they had a lot of interesting tidbits about how your brain works in regards to habits and different things like that. The Joy of Missing Out is all centered around how to live your life feeling more abundant by doing less, and how you can feel like you do more in your day by really weeding out the unimportant tasks and really focusing on what's important in your life. So the next book that I read was another really good mystery thriller, and that is The Girl in the Picture by Alexandra Monnier. Let's say that, Monnier. The main character's name is Nicole. Loved it already, though it was kind of weird to read. I'm not even gonna lie. And she is the girl in the picture. And the picture is a photograph that was found on the dead body of the school heartthrob Chase Porter. He is found dead in the woods right outside of the school, and one of the only belongings found on him is a picture of him and Nicole together. Now, this raises so many questions when Nicole is the best friend to Chase's girlfriend and also her roommate at their school, and no one really knows about Nicole and Chase's friendship / relationship, whatever you may call it. And so this raises a lot of questions about Nicole. So Nicole is kind of the prime suspect in this murder. So the story is kind of told in alternating views of Nicole and Lana Riviera. Lana Riviera was the girlfriend and Nicole's roommate. So the story just goes through and unravels everything that happened the night that Chase was killed. On Goodreads, I rated this book 4.5 stars. It was really good. I finished it in like 2 sittings within like a 6-hour span. Obviously, I would highly recommend it since I flew through it. It was a really easy read, and it was really captivating and a really good mystery thriller. So next, I read a book called When We Were Worthy by Mary Beth Mayhew Whalen, and this was another free book on Amazon Kindle, so I just was like, you know what the heck, let me read this. And I expected this to be a little bit more mystery thriller than it was. It wasn't really mystery at all. It was just kind of a post-tragedy. Tragedy strikes the town of Worthy, Georgia, where 3 of their beloved cheerleaders die in a car wreck one night, and it is deemed an accident, which it is. It is just an accident. So that's where I kind of thought it was going to be more of a mystery thriller, but it's actually just an accident. So the story follows the characters and mothers and friends and family of the girls post-mortem, just kind of how they're dealing with the accident, with the reality of everything, and how they're each grieving and their secrets that are being unraveled as time goes on. It was a pretty good read. I gave it 4 stars. Even though it wasn't my typical cup of tea, it was still really enjoyable. It took me a while to get like really into it, but I ended up really enjoying it in the end. Alright, the next book is another one that is super popular in the young adult teen reading scene again, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is another chef's kiss, absolute like perfect mystery thriller, you guys. Pip is a senior in high school, and she has to choose a final project, and people are starting to ask questions when she chooses to write all about the case of Andy Bell and Saul Sing. As Pip is working on her final project, she starts asking a lot of questions to a lot of people that knew both of the students really well, and secrets slowly get uncovered, and Pip believes that not everything is what it seems in regards to this case, and that people might have gotten it wrong. This story was like the quintessential murder mystery high school, like the girl is uncovering all the secrets of things that people that she knows are hiding and don't want to be uncovered. This is another book that I flew through. This is another book that I'm sure you've all heard of, and it is hyped up for a reason. It is spectacular. There's also a sequel to it, and there's also also a third book coming out this year. So if you do read this book, you're guaranteed to have 2 more really good books to read afterwards. I loved the ending, I loved the middle, all the drama in it. It was very fast paced, which I really liked. There was no really dull moments. New things were always being uncovered, really kept you on your toes. I just love my murder mysteries, you guys. It's just my cup of tea. So the last book, book number 10, possibly my favorite, was Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. So this is the first book of a series. It's set at a boarding school in the middle of a mountain. Like, murders happen. You can't get anything better than it, you guys. It's my cup of tea. So Truly Devious follows a girl named Stevie Bell who is obsessed with the Ellingham case. Now, the Ellingham case is a whole... This is really going to be hard to get into, I just realized. So Ellingham Academy is the school that I just talked about. It was founded by a rich, very rich man named Albert Ellingham. His one true passion was education, but education in just a different way. So he opened a school. All the students there really have something that they're good at. Like, one of the students is an author and he's only 17. One of the other students is really good at machinery and building things, and everyone just kind of has their own niche. So for Stevie, her passion is true crime, detective work, and specifically she's obsessed with the Ellingham case. The Ellingham case happened in the 30s to the man that founded the school. His daughter and wife were kidnapped one day, and later his wife was found dead. His daughter was never found, and they arrested the guy that they believed kidnapped them and killed the wife, and Stevie believes that they got it all wrong. So Stevie gets admitted to Ellingham Academy on the basis that she's obsessed with the case and is very talented at true crime work. So as Stevie comes to Ellingham and she's trying to uncover the mystery, there are more tragedies that happen in Ellingham, and so now Stevie is trying to not only solve the older case, but the new things that are occurring at her school to her and her friends. This story just has everything. I also really love the fact that it goes back between present day and back in the Ellingham kind of case era, and has scenes with Albert and his confidants as well as the original Ellingham case is occurring. This is a great, easy, but riveting read that you can use to get back into reading if you haven't been reading in a long time. So that is it. Those are the 10 books that I have read recently that I believe you should definitely read as well. Like I said in the beginning, those were the books that I read from January to March 31st of this year. I think I'm going to make this kind of like a quarterly series. I think that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, all the links to the books on Amazon that I have read will be in the description. Definitely check those out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please comment down below the books that you've been reading recently. I'm always open to rec. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys, have a great day.
Are you still there? To delete this message, what are you talking about?